today I thought I would share with you my curriculum and unit plan, my sequence for the 2024-2025 school year. And I get questions about this every once in a while in my inbox. People ask me, when I teach certain parts of music and how I go about putting together that kind of plan. And it's really hard to explain because there's an awful lot that goes into it. So because it's the beginning of the year and it's fresh on my mind, I thought that I would share with you the chart that I made that I will use this year to help guide me in my planning. Now, this chart is meant to be a big picture overview. I'm not going to get into a ton of specifics because I like to leave room for inspiration. And oftentimes, I might get inspired to teach a particular concept in a different way. If I were to always teach it the same way, I would probably get kind of bored. And especially in my 13th year teaching, I have to use some variety to keep it fresh for myself, but also fresh for my students. So every year I try and mix it up a little bit. Still though, the big picture plan I think is a good one. At least it is for my students. All right, let's dive in. This is my 2024-2025 music curriculum. And it is organized according to grade on the left and then week across the top. I know that I generally have about 36 weeks with my students, which is pretty crazy how little time that music teachers have with their kids. But there's a lot of other things the kids need to learn too, so I get it. Still, we need to really take advantage of the time that we have together. And I start my planning knowing that in week 1, we're going to talk about goals and procedures. I don't want to miss that. It's important. And on week 36, we're going to celebrate all that we learned. All right. Now, my 4th graders get a little extra celebration because they're the ones leaving the school. So then everything in between is where the meat of our learning and instruction goes. I like to start with performances, just not because performances are more important, but because performances require some extra scheduling. So every year, my students all participate in a Veterans Day music program. And that happens right around Veterans Day, November 11th, which happens to be week 12 in my school's calendar. Then I also like to give each grade level their own music program. So Veterans Day is for everyone together in the gym. And then later we have after school programs for each grade level. So in kindergarten, at the very end of the year, we do a Kindy Sing, which is a huge hit for kids and their families after their first year at school. In 1st grade, we like to do a music and reading program where we connect music and books. So playing books, picture books often, and just finding creative ways of combining song or instruments or dance into reading. And then in 2nd grade, a 2nd grade program, which this year will probably be a family folk dance night. I like to put that towards the beginning of the year. And really, that's just a way of spreading things out so I don't feel like I'm doing too many performances all at once. 3rd grade, there we'll be working on recorder, and so we'll have a recorder program a little bit after the middle of the year. And then 4th grade, I want to be at the end of the year. Their program is a big celebration of all they've learned during their time in elementary school. So I want that to be at the very end of the year as a grand finale for their families. All right, now let's look at each individual grade level. Each grade has multiple things happening at once. Now, kindergarten is a little bit unusual because in my school, I see kindergarten twice. And the second time that I see them, we devote to free dancing. So it's kind of an extra music time that they get once every 3 weeks. And so by the time the year is done, they will have had 11 different chances to have a dance party in music class. So that goes throughout the year. But then during their normal music class, at the beginning, I like to start with singing and instrument exploration. Then once we've wrapped up singing, we will move on to Veterans Day program prep. Now, this is still singing, right? So it's not like, once singing focus is done, we never sing again. No, we're still going to sing again, but this is more how to sing and, proper technique and that kind of thing. We'll do our Veterans Day program, then we'll move on to movement. Not that we're not moving in other places, but just this is where we're going to focus on movement. We'll do activities, which is really just a placeholder. This is room for me to get a little bit inspired. I'm hoping to revamp my kindergarten this year, planning on doing singing games and other activities within music. So I just left that as activities. And then our program prep. I really need to have this chunk of time planned out ahead of time so that the kids can be ready for their performance and know all of their songs. All right, moving on to first grade. Now, in first grade, we will start with a focus on movement. So, locomotor, non-locomotor movement. We'll talk about the pillars of music, which is steady beat, rhythm, melody, and harmony. Then they will move on to getting ready for Veterans Day program, and at the same time, doing a folk dancing unit and a mallet unit. So xylophones, metallophones, and glockenspiels. All right, and that'll carry over after the program as well. Then they'll start getting ready for their first grade program. Now, you'll notice throughout this entire plan, I have lots of places for units called music is. I have music is reading, music is art, music is history, music is technology, music is science, music is math. And that's because one of our standards is connecting music to disciplines outside of the arts. And this is always a challenge for me and something to really get me excited is how can I connect music to things like reading? So what books can I find and how can I make them musical? Now, after their program, we'll do a focus on singing, we'll do a focus on the instruments of the orchestra, and then, like I said, connecting music to art and technology. All right, moving on to second grade. Second grade, we're going to start with folk dancing because their program happens pretty close to the beginning of the year. So we're going to go over, expectations for folk dance, different folk dance formations and moves. We'll actually be practicing two programs at once, the Veterans Day program and the folk dance program. But honestly, I try and keep our Veterans Day program fairly light. Mostly just a song or two per grade level, and so I can do both of those at the same time. Then we'll focus on mallet instruments, really starting to get into better technique in playing mallet instruments. Then we'll focus on singing, music and history, talking about composers, and then music theory. Now we're going to dive in deeper than just steady beat, rhythm, melody, and harmony. But we're going to start talking about rhythms in that, what rhythms are called, rhythm identification, beats, starting to read pitches on a music staff, all of that. Then we'll have music and technology towards the end. Music and technology, I like to use some apps. The kids will bring their laptops, work on the Chrome Music Lab, that kind of thing. So I like that at the end of the year. All right, third grade. Now, third and fourth, you're going to have some similarities, okay? At least they do for me right now. And both are going to be working on music theory at the beginning of the year and using music and math to relate to that theory in, describing fractions and how we use fractions to determine whole notes and half notes, quarter, eighth, 16th notes. So I have a great unit connecting music and math and helping kids understand symbols of notation. All right, then both grades are going to get ready for their Veterans Day program, but here's where it changes. Third graders are going to start focusing on recorder and fourth graders on singing. Now, the recorder unit is my longest unit of anything. It's going to be 12 weeks. I found that teaching third graders to play recorder takes a lot of focus time. So I'm devoting 12 weeks to that with a program at the end. In fourth grade, during that time, we'll be folk dancing. All right. Then in third grade, music and science. I have lots of demonstrations and experiments to share with the kids. In fourth grade, they'll do start talking about middle school ensembles like band, choir, and orchestra, so that they can be ready to test on instruments towards the end of the year. Then our third graders will switch to folk dancing and mallets, while our fourth graders really focus on mallet instruments, getting ready for their fourth grade program. This program tends to be like a heavily ORF-inspired program, so lots of pieces on the mallet instruments, songs to sing, and dances to perform. All right, so that's kind of the overview and plan for my year. It allows all of my grade levels to have time singing, playing instruments, moving, dancing. It allows many of them to do theory. It allows for things like instruments of the orchestra. We also connect music to reading, art, technology, history, science, math, and each grade level has a Veterans Day program and an additional grade level performance, whether it's the Kindy Sing, the first grade reading program, the second grade family folk dance night, the third grade recorder program, or the fourth grade end of the year celebration. All right, guys, I don't know how helpful this is to you. It's helpful to me, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to peel behind the curtain a bit and consider how are we planning for the entire year? Your really effective instruction is going to come week to week as you consider how to best teach those things, what dances to perform, what pieces to play, what concepts to really dive into. But having the plan at the beginning of the year is just a huge help. So best of luck to you this year, and I hope that you and your students just really grow in your love for music. So thanks a lot for checking out this video. Feel free to check out my website. It's bowtiemusic.net. I have hundreds of resources, videos, real life examples of teaching on there. So please check that out. If you want to support me and the work that I am doing here on YouTube and on my website, you can also buy me a coffee. I will leave a link to that. Just a little way to keep this thing going. So thanks, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and I hope you have a great year. Bye, guys.